recording now? He just going out of his way for the YouTube channel. All right, man.
All right, go ahead and hit that. Yes, please. All right, guys. First thing, we're going to talk about the bandsaw today. As with all the other machines that we have, know where the on and off switch is. The on button is the green, off is the whole big red one. If you got to work on it, make sure you power it off, and that's on the switch on the wall. If you power it off or you have to work on it, make sure that you come and get me and that I'm around before you do any work to it. Okay, this is the bandsaw. As you can probably figure out if you can see this big band in here, that's the actual blade, and it goes all the way around these two big wheels. Make sure all of the guards are in place when you're ready to use this. Make sure that you have no loose, like you got your IDs or your headphones or something. Make sure that you have no loose clothing, no long hair, nothing that could get down in here as our other machines. The only guard that this one has is this piece right here. And depending on the thickness of the material you use, you'll raise and lower that by loosening this knob on the side and turning this. You want it to be within 1/8 of an inch of the material. You don't want it way up here, and you can't have it down tight against the material or you won't be able to get it through there. So you need it 1/8 of an inch above the material. Once you got the guard set, that's the only guard other than you being the safety device on this. So remember, the number one safety device on any of our equipment is you, the user. Okay. The next thing you want to keep in mind is that when you push this piece through here, you never want your hand or your thumb or whatever in line of the blade. And this groove right here is the line of the blade. Some pieces you're going to have on here is pretty small. You'll want to use a push stick. If your finger gets too close to that blade, you never want to go in that line and put yourself in that danger. Let's see, the next thing you want to do is so you can turn radiuses with this saw and make like small curves, but because this blade is so wide, if you see that blade down in there, it's almost an inch wide. The narrower the blade, the sharper curves that you can do. This one's not very good for real sharp curves. We have it on here for a job that you guys are going to do with those model houses that we have going on. So remember, only make your curves based on the width of that blade. Don't force anything in here. So if it feels like something's stuck, stop, shut it off. The brake on this thing, so I turned it on and shut it off so that you can see how long this, I can walk down to the other end of the room and come back and it'll still be running. So the way I don't want you to walk away from this, because when everything else is running in here, you can't hear it running because it's so quiet. Before you walk away, either wait until it stops or use the brake down here. Put your foot on it until the blade stops. Okay, so that's the brake. Yeah, that's how you stop the blade. Do not push on the brake while you have the switch on. If you do, it will automatically kick off anyways. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this piece. Remember to keep your fingers on both sides of on the groove where the line is. I can do some slight curves on it, but not real much because it starts binding the blade. That's about the extent with the width of this blade. All of you are going to get a chance to do this. Remember the brake. Remember to keep your area clean. This one puts off a lot of dust also. If you start getting too much dust on here, make sure you use the air hose and blow it off, or the vacuum and suck it off. I'm cool on this one. The other thing that I want to make sure that you remember is the only way this blade stays on those two wheels is by tipping those wheels back and forth to make it run in the center of the wheel. So if you look on here, that wheel accepts that blade right there, and tipping this wheel on the top back and forth will make the blade move, okay? So the only thing that you gotta keep in mind is if you run into your piece and it gets stuck, or you have to back out of it, you have to go in so far to the line that you've got, stop it, shut it off, and then pull it out. If you try to pull it out with it running and that blade's and it's in your piece, you'll pull that blade off the wheel and it damages the wheel, and then you got a chance of getting hurt. So if I've got to come part way in and I need to back out, make sure you shut it off and then hit the brake, okay? Let it stop and then pull it out. Make sense?
Sir.
As I said, you all are gonna get a chance at this. And that is the bandsaw. What questions do you guys have? Any? Okay. Do me a favor and shut that off.